I just wanted to respond to this video. First of all, I want to apologize for the quality of this. I'm not using my usual recording stuff, so it's a little bit, not good. First of all, I just want to say this guy is wrong. He says that CutCo is a cheap product. That's just a scam. Well, that is not true. My family has been using CutCo for 40 years. My uncle sold it in the 70s. And it's a great quality product. It's lasted that long. Some of our knives are still sharp, actually, from when we bought them in the 70s. And we were a family. I had eight kids, 7 brothers and sisters, and my mother cooked a lot, and her knives still work. Now, the thing is, in his presentation, he talked about how the knives are not crafted in America simply because at some point in the production schedule they are shipped to Japan. Now, here's the thing: CutCo sells a variety of knives. Now, included in those gourmet knives are some knives that are not of an American origin. A lot of knives that you see in kitchen nowadays, butcher knife, cleavers, these were all created and are European knives. And so, since America derives a lot of its culture from Europe, we have professionals in this country who are able to sharpen those knives. I'm not old enough to remember it, but there used to be days when you could go down the street, and down the street there'd be a professional man who you could pay him $1 and he'd sharpen all of your knives for you. Well, the thing is, the reason you went to that guy is because he'd been sharpening knives like that his entire life, and he was a professional with those knives. Now, it makes sense if you bring in a Japanese blade to send it to Japan for its sharpening, because all of the knives are hand sharpened, and so it makes sense, just like you would send a butcher knife to an American or a European man to have it sharpened because he knows how to sharpen it, because he knows how the blade is used. It makes sense to send a Santoku or another Japanese-made knife over to Japan to get it sharpened, because they actually know how to use the knife. Now, also, in his video, he talks about the misuse and abuse clause and how the forever guarantee is a lie. First of all, my grandmother got her knives replaced for free after my grandfather used them to cut kindling and broke them. So I'm wondering if his example is real or if he just made it up as an example. Now, here's the thing. Even if it was made up as an example, I'm going to say it, and he says it: people don't know how to use knives. But if you don't know how to use a knife, you can do some things that really are very, very bad for knives. For example, a 2-inch paring knife. CutCo knives stay sharp for several months. But if you cut with a paring knife onto a cutting board, because the blade is so small, so much pressure is put on the cutting surface that it dulls the cutting surface very quickly. And, well, yes, that is something that it never goes dull. But if you misuse a paring knife like that on the cutting board, it will go dull because you are misusing the knife. Now, his example, he uses a butcher knife on chicken. The thing is, how was the person cutting the chicken with the butcher knife? Butcher knives are designed to be used where you hold the handle, put your hand on the blade, and push down. It's a very strong, sturdy knife, which also makes me, how does a person break a butcher knife? It's almost impossible to do. Now, if they were using the butcher knife to chop, then yes, it would make sense that the company wouldn't replace it, because you don't chop with a butcher knife. You chop with a cleaver. Butcher knives are not designed with the structural integrity to take it chopping like that. Now, they're a very sturdy knife, and they probably could take it, but if someone is using the knife grossly incorrectly, it's the company's right to say you really aren't using that knife right at all. That's just like to say if I was to use my paring knife as a throwing knife and then get mad because the tip broke off and they wouldn't replace it under normal wear and tear. It's a little bit different, I'll admit it, but it has the same principle. Knives are meant to be used a certain way, and if you use them grossly out of conduct, if you use the butcher knife in a way that is not at all the way a butcher knife is supposed to be used, then it may break and not be covered under the normal wear and tear. Now, I'll admit it's sad, some people don't know how to use a knife. Well, take a cooking class and learn how to use your knives. If I don't know how to drive a car, so I drive with my car up on the sidewalk half the time, and then I complain when I hit a sign, is it the car company's fault because I didn't know how to drive my car properly? And once again, some people may say that's harsh, but that's what you get into. CutCo is a fine set of knives, and so if they sell it, they assume that you at least either A, know how to use the knife, or B, are going to find out. Now, I spent a lot more time on that part of the presentation than I really wanted to. But it gets me when people make stupid mistakes, like using a butcher knife incorrectly, which, once again, if they were cutting it like this, then I can see some issue there. But if they were chopping with it, which is the only way I can conceive you'd break a butcher knife, then, I'm tired of people blaming the companies for their own mistakes. If you were chopping with a butcher knife, which is not supposed to be done, then it's going to break, and when the car company's not going to replace my car for hitting that sign. Now, I think I hit everything I wanted to hit. I just want to close again by saying the basic premise of the guy's video is wrong. He says that CutCo is a scam, that it's a lower quality product. It's not. CutCo is a very high quality product. Once again, my family's used it for years and years, and I grabbed my mom's 40-year-old slicer off the shelf tonight. We made nice homemade bread, and it still just cut right through. And so I just hope some of the people who watch that live fest watch this video and get some of the truth.